Hello friends, this is Paper Play with Julie Kay, and today I will be sharing with you the last half of my December daily for 2017. Thanks so much for stopping by my channel and checking out my last installment for my December daily / traveler's notebook that I used for December last month. It's now January, and I had actually had planned on doing 2 more segments, one up until Christmas and then one right after Christmas, but my camera ended up dying on me and I was having issues when I recorded it the last time, so I just ended up working on the rest of it for the end of the month. And so now I'm just going to go through everything that I have left in here that I haven't shown you guys. And then I'm also, I think, going to do a video if people are interested in how I sew in my actual signature, doing the pamphlet stitch. And I do use a tool called a Japanese screw punch, which is a little bit different than a lot of people. So I am going to do that sometime yet this month, hopefully, show you guys how I'm going to finish this book off. And because like I said, right now, everything is loose on here. But I believe last time I left you guys off on December 16th, so I'll just start on December 17th and work my way to the end. If you guys can see or not, on this date, I just wrote about a book that I had read called The Christmas Box, and it was a really good book, so I highly recommend it. It has, you know, it's a little bit religious for those guys who like faith-based books. But it was about that and the true meaning of Christmas, so I wrote about that. December 18th, I just wrote about one of my favorite Christmas movies is, I like all the really old ones, but Miracle on 34th Street. But so this was about, yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus, and I just had this little piece of paper left over from some project a long time ago, so I had been saving that, and so I cut that out. I did stamp an image that I just kind of thought maybe looked like what Virginia might have looked like way back when that original story was published in the newspaper, and a picture of Santa Claus. And then I did look up the little bit of information about the story, and it was originally put into an editorial page in the New York Sun newspaper. And it was originally written by Francis P. Church, September 21st, 1897. So it wasn't even written in December, which was interesting. But it was, yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus. And then I just kind of kept on writing the little bit of what was in that article on that one. So I thought I'd add that in because it's one of my favorite Christmas movies, Miracle on 34th Street. And then see, December 19th, we had guests over. My parents brought some of their neighbors from their lake to come and look. And so I did add a picture of my nativity. And I wasn't very happy. I was using some cheap photo paper that I got from the dollar store a long time ago. And I wasn't happy with the quality. But since that's what I printed on, I figured I just was going to still use it in my book. But I don't know if you guys can kind of see, I do set up. It's a really huge nativity up in our loft in our cabin. And so I just had taken a picture of that. And my parents' friends were pretty amazed by it. So I did just put that one picture in there. And I also did go back in. I know earlier I talked about putting pictures in. So I did finally put those in of like my mom's angel collection that she gave me. And I stuck a few other photos in here from other stuff that I decorated in the house. So I did go back and add those in. Here I just put another picture of our Christmas tree. Our house is pretty dark. We live in a cabin and in the Midwest, so we don't get a lot of sun this time of year where we live, so the pictures are kind of dark. But I do have a tall tree. It's 9 feet tall, and I decorate it kind of an outdoorsy, woodsy theme. And then I have a few decorations on there from when I was a child that my mom had given me. That were mine, that I had been given as gifts and stuff, so those are on there too. And then on this date, I just wrote down a recipe. In our family, I have a Norwegian background, and we make something called lefse every year, but then my mom also makes something that she calls hardanger cakes, which is similar to lefse, but it's a different type of dough. So I just wrote down the recipe. She did also give it to me. And I thought I had it, but when I was going through my recipe box, I didn't have it, so I just made sure that I got it from her, and then I just also wrote it in here just to make sure I had kind of a backup copy floating around somewhere else. December 21st, I just listed some favorite Christmas movies. I think my husband and I probably watched a Christmas movie in the evening. Again, we live a pretty quiet life, so we don't have kids or anything, so we don't go to a lot of programs. And when I lived closer to my sister, I used to go to all the things that her kids were in, but since we're a couple hours away now, it just isn't feasible. So, again, my journal is probably a little more boring than some people's when it comes to a December daily. And let's see, December 22nd, I just said that Christmas was nearly here. And it was just the two of us for the day, and it's just important to remember the reason for the season. So nothing real major on that day that I wrote. December 23rd, I just did a little journaling about another decoration that I had put up, which was a new one for me this year. I'll hold it up close. It's just Santa Claus in a sleigh and all these reindeer, and they were done by a scroll saw by my father-in-law. And I'd been looking for a while for, I'd been looking for a while for something to put on top of my fireplace. And he had shown me a pattern of the reindeer and the sleigh that he had. And so he kindly made me the sleigh and the reindeer, and he made all of the reindeer. I know he does do some craft shows, and he was selling like a couple reindeer with each set, but he made me the whole reindeer set with all the reindeer, and I did paint it myself. He just cut it out for me, so I just took a picture of that. December 24th, we actually had a fairly busy day, so I did add just this little sentiment right here that says it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, and it was actually just a piece left over. If you watch my YouTube videos, I had made a train drawer set for my father-in-law, and this was a piece I didn't use on there, and instead of just throwing it away, I just added it into my journal. But I just wrote what we did for the day. We had a busy day. We started the day visiting my sister and her kids at their house, and we actually just did a quick breakfast, you know, nothing major, just some muffins, and then we also had a piece of cake because we were celebrating my nephew Noah's belated birthday because we weren't there. He didn't have a family birthday party, just a friend's birthday party. And so we let him open up his gifts that day. And then we decided to wait on everybody else's gifts. Again, we just buy gifts for the kids. But the Christmas gifts we were getting together for New Year's later this month. So we decided to hold on to all of those Christmas gifts until my parents were actually there. And then after we were at my sister's house, we went to go see my grandma who lives in a nursing home. And so we actually had lunch with her over there, and my mom was able to bring a crock pot full of soup, and we brought lefse, and also my grandma likes cheesecake, so we did bring a cheesecake for her, and we watched her open her gift, and so we had a nice little meal with her. And then after that, we left for another drive to go see my husband's parents. And then my parents actually also joined us over at my in-laws' house. So I just journaled about that. So nothing real, exciting, but spending time with family is always important. December 25th, it was just my husband and I, and we just spent a quiet day at the house celebrating. And since it was just the two of us, we decided to kind of go with a non-traditional type meal. And so we made homemade pizza. And we tried a new recipe that we had found online, and it was made with like blue cheese, and it had apples on it and bacon, so it was really different. And then spinach, and then we also added chicken just because my husband's kind of one of those guys that needs a full meal and lots of protein, so I added chicken to it also. And then it kind of, instead of like the tomato-based sauce, it kind of had like a honey mustard type sauce on it, which is really good. I just added a tag that I had planned on using somewhere else in the journal, and then I didn't, so I just didn't want it to go to waste since I already had the tape on it. I just stuck it there. December 26th, I just, behind the picture, I just journaled about it being cold. It's been really cold, like 20, 30 below zero, so really cold here. And I added a picture, again, of one of my decorations going up to the loft where I had that nativity. I just add some little Christmas stuff, and I have an old Christmas sleigh that I put some old stuffed animals in, and I usually put different stuff on the stairs going up, little different decorations. So I just took a picture of that. And then again, I just added a little piece of ephemera for my stash there just to fill it up because I didn't journal a lot underneath there. So yeah, on December 27th, I just added this little ephemera piece. I just thought she was pretty. It's a Tsunami Rose one. And then behind here, I just journaled about joining a collaboration here on YouTube for the next year. It's through Gracie21's channel. It's a house mouse, which is these little guys right here. And I have a lot of rubber stamp house mouse stamps from like 20 years ago when I first started stamping, and so they haven't been used, but I haven't quite been able to sell them either in any D-stashes. So I thought, well, now is the time to maybe take them out and use them in this collaboration. And so like I said, I just stamped one out and colored them. And he's actually the one I'm going to be using for January, but I did color him differently for January, for the January project that I'm working on. And so right here, I did end up writing down, she eventually sent us out email with all the themes for each of the months, so I just wrote them down here. I also wrote them in my planner, but good to have a backup somewhere. On this page, December 28th, I just took another picture of some of my angel collection that my mom had given me on one of our shelves. And here I journaled about the fact that I went back to Fargo today to pick up a new camera because my camera had died earlier after I had recorded a video, and I went out for lunch with a friend, so I journaled about that. December 29th, I really didn't do anything besides stamp December 29th, and I wrote, "Baby, it's cold outside," right there. And as I was going through my stash, I found a tag that I made, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and I've never been able to give it away to anybody, so I just decided to put it in my journal. It was one where I was practicing some different Tim Holtz techniques, and so I just kept it and decided just to keep it for myself instead of stumbling upon it every year at Christmas and then not being able to do anything with it. So I decided to keep it for myself. And December 30th, on this picture, it actually said like December 25th, and I took my rubber stamp and stamped over it so that I could write 30 on that one. My husband and I went to my parents' house, and then my sister and her kids and husband joined us, and so we spent the next couple days together. And I journaled about that. We had planned on doing some stuff outside, like fishing with the kids. A lot of times we go sledding, and different stuff like that, but we're talking about, you know, minus 25, minus 30 degrees out, below zero, and it was really too cold to do anything outside. I think my dad and my husband did go out and do a couple things outside, but the rest of us were stayed inside where it was nice and warm. So I journaled about that, and then we played some board games with the kids. And then again, another day of family time inside because it was way too cold out. So we all, usually when you get together with things like this, you eat way too much. We didn't really drink too much, but I just had this journal card that said, eat, drink, be merry. I think we each had one drink in the evening. The adults, my husband made some sort of rum drink for all of us, and then the kids had that sparkling grape juice. The boys also spent time watching football. There was a Vikings game on that day, so the boys did that, and the girls sat upstairs, and my niece and I baked a little bit, and we just kind of chatted or whatever. And then again, lots of board games. My sister's kids love playing board games. I kind of get tired of all of them, and I'm not very good at most of them, but I attempt just to make family memories to do that. And then the next day, January 1st, I just wrote Happy Birthday, Dad, and we took a family picture, which I can show you guys. I'm right there in the back. I'm kind of short. But we took a family picture, and it was it's my dad's birthday on the 1st, so I just wrote Happy Birthday, Dad, and then the only other thing is I doodled a little bit here, and I doodled underneath the picture, but I'm not going to show you guys that. The last page of my planner, I just dated January 2nd, and for this one I just added a little journal card that I had in my stash that said wishes, and these are kind of my goals for the next year. I don't really make resolutions, but I do make goals every now and again, and so I just wrote down crafty goals for the next year. And one of them is to learn Photoshop better. My husband did purchase me Photoshop Elements last year, and I haven't really done anything with it. And so I just want to get more proficient at it. There is an online class that I can take, so I might do that. Also, I want to try and join more challenges, whether they're on YouTube or in Facebook groups, so that I have that as a goal for this next year. I also want to continue to make a dent in my paper stash. And I realized for this one to really come true, I have to quit buying paper. So we'll see how feasible that goal actually is or not. Because I kind of have a problem with buying paper all the time. Also, I want to keep up with a crafty planner. I did receive one in a prize package from Gracie21 here on YouTube. And I decided to use that planner to keep track of all my craft goals and craft challenges and different things like that. And then also I want to start working on my Christmas cards sooner. So I might join a couple of challenges that are out there for creating Christmas cards throughout the year. So that was my last page. These are just empty. I did not use any of these little inserts that I had here. So I'll probably take them out and put them in my stash for next year when I create another December daily. And so that is my journal. And if you guys are interested, I will be posting a video within the next couple weeks on how I sew in my pamphlet stitch, in case you guys are interested in watching that. But if not, I hope you guys all have a wonderful day and take care.